You are Locked On Tigers POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Detroit on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
And welcome into a live Locked On Tigers POSTCAST. I am your host, Jake Riepma. You can follow me on Twitter at Jake_Riepma, formerly with 97.1 The Ticket, the Tigers flagship, now with Locked On Tigers POSTCAST. Fired up to be with you, and we're oh so close to the Tigers sweeping the series. But alas, the comeback bid in the series finale falls a little bit short. The Diamondbacks salvage one of the games. They win this one 6-4. So we're going to talk about it, break it all down. The comeback bid, this Tigers offense chipped away here and there. There was a lot of different plays in this game to break down, analyze this, that, and the other. We'll talk about the pitching performance from Matt Manning. Got off to kind of a rough and rocky start, but was able to settle in a little bit. The bullpen gives up the runs in the seventh inning, and then we'll do a new segment here on Sundays. We'll do the weekend in review. In case you missed a couple of the episodes on a Friday night or on a Saturday night, we'll do the weekend in review. So thanks for tuning in to Locked On Tigers POSTCAST and for making us your first listen every single day. And you know the drill by now, but we'll tell you anyways. Locked On Tigers POSTCAST, make it your first listen every day, free and available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Now, where this game began, I thought it had the potential of maybe getting a little bit out of hand with Matt Manning on the bump. Bottom of the first two guys reach. You had Carroll with the leadoff triple, and the Tigers kind of played that into a leadoff triple. It was some miscommunication with Javi Baez and the outfield, or I should say the rest of the infield. He went out to get the cutoff, and nobody was yelling 3-3-3 that Carroll was trying to stretch it into a triple, because if that's a well-executed relay play, then Carroll's out at third. But nonetheless, that's not why they lost this game. It just, as we start with the Matt Manning, or the bottom of the first, that was the first thing that jumped out to me. But I do want to give this offense some credit, because I think the Tigers teams in weeks past, even days past, if the opposition scores 2 runs in the first frame, in the opening frame, then the game's over. I mean, we saw that against the Marlins when the first 2 batters, it was a leadoff single and then a 2-run homer, and those were the only runs of the game. Final score was 2-0. So at least I know there are no moral victories, and we shouldn't be saying, hey, I'm proud of the guys for not getting shut out 2-0 after giving up 2 runs in the first inning. But my mind did go there, that at least this team in this weekend finale, although they lost the game, at least they chipped away, continued to fight, and the offense, again, showed a pulse. And over the course of the weekend, you have 13 runs on Friday. Yesterday, you had the 8 runs, and then today, 4 more runs. So the offense, we don't have to sit here and scream into the mic about how much we hate this offense. And I guess, again, no moral victories, but at least that there's something to be said about that. I want to welcome everybody that's joining us on the live YouTube stream. As always, you should subscribe to Locked On Sports Detroit if you haven't yet, because this will be the hub, the home, this, that, and everything else, your one-stop shop for all of our instant reaction and analysis shows, obviously with Locked On Tigers POSTCAST, into the fall with Locked On Lions POSTCAST, and into the winter with Locked On Pistons POSTCAST. It'll all happen right here on Locked On Sports Detroit. And then if you missed the live version on YouTube, you can always go back and watch the video version on our YouTube channel, or if you want the audio only version, that's available to you on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts for that matter. So let's talk about this offense, and we can jump ahead, and why not? We'll break down the scoring plays. I like doing that because, again, this offense chipped away, and despite falling down early, because the Diamondbacks got 1 more in the second, it was 3-0. That top of the third, you had the Spencer Torkelson home run. Put Tork on the thumbnail of today's show, because that was the type of towering home run that we would love to become more accustomed to seeing from Spencer Torkelson. It was a towering fly ball. He looked like a power hitter there, 428 feet to center field, the type of home run that off the bat, it probably sounded different if you were at the game there at Chase Field in Phoenix, but just the look of that home run really brought a smile to my face, because we think, okay, this is the type of guy Spencer Torkelson can be. So I was proud and happy to see that. That made it 3-1 for the Tigers. And then again, I'm going to say this probably time and time again, but chipping away. The Diamondbacks did get one back with a run in the bottom of the fourth, but jump ahead to the fifth. That's when Javi Baez singled home Wenzel Perez. And what should be noted in that inning, that Wenzel Perez was able to move into scoring position with that fly ball that was down the corner in left field, able to get himself to second base, and that allowed the 2-out single from Javi Baez to score Perez. If he doesn't get to second base there, obviously he's not coming in to score on just a single. And here we go. Say something nice about Javi. Again, it wasn't the breakout games that he had in the first two games of the series, but once again, he was dialed in at times. Defensively, there's the play, the go-ahead run on that ground ball that wasn't a great throw. It was a bang-bang play. I'm not going to harp on him too much. You would have loved Jake Rogers to make the pick there and apply the tag. It was a tough play all the way around, but offensively, another hit for Javi and an RBI. He did have hit after the RBI single from Javi there in the fifth inning. His next at bat, I believe it was the seventh. I'll have to double check that in my notes. Yeah, in the seventh inning, that strikeout just looked like old Javi. He swung and missed at one of the most egregious low and away sliders, and it was just a frisbee. I think Benetti even said that it was just a frisbee toss up there, and Javi is still swinging away at it for whatever reason. But again, I know I'm going all over the place, but I think when this offense shows the signs of life that they did, we got to talk about it, because this was that type of game that, yes, the Tigers fell behind, but as they continued to chip away, you thought, okay, maybe this is the type of game that they can maybe come back and win. Obviously, it didn't work that way. 6, Matt Vierling had a double to left that scored Andy Ibanez. Nice at bat from Vierling there, because again, that was with 2 outs. So some clutch hitting from the Tigers. And then in the 7th, it was the Kerry Carpenter triple to right that scored Torkelson as a pinch hitter. Now it was also with 2 outs. But if you watch the game, you know what happened. Carpenter's trying to score from third and make it an inside the park home run. Joey Coro was aggressive as the third base coach, sent him home. Very curious your thoughts. If you're watching on the YouTube, should Kerry Carpenter have tried to score on that play? And it was kind of not awkward's not the right word, but as it's so just the way that ballpark is created, the architecture of the ballpark with that high wall in center field with the yellow line that goes across. As a viewer, you just never really know if it's a home run when it hits that wall, because it's either it hits above the yellow line or it doesn't. It always comes back into play, into the playing field in center field there, if you've watched enough games at Chase Field. And I'm watching that game thinking, okay, that was a 2-run bomb to center field. The Tigers have the lead, but alas, we know that's not what happened. And Carpenter's trying to score from third. The relay beats him just barely. And Gibby and Benetti obviously talk about Barnhart, the catcher for the Diamondbacks, blocking the plate. The Tigers and AJ Hinch and the Tigers did challenge the play, and the review comes back to where Carpenter is in fact called out. I like being aggressive there, especially because with a runner on, and Carpenter and Torkelson had already scored to tie the game. So Carpenter, if he's able to score on that inside the park home run, represented the go-ahead runner there, and that would have made it 5-4. A bummer that he was tagged out, and they slowed it down. When obviously with a review, there's going to be a number of different angles that you look at. They slow it down. Did he get his hand in there? Was Barnhart blocking the play? Unfortunately, it doesn't go the Tigers' way. He's called out, and the score remains tied at 4. So let me know what you think in the comments. Should Cora have sent him? Do you like the idea of maybe him staying on third and then giving an opportunity there to kind of move along, as they say? It would have been Jake Rogers that would have been up, because Carpenter was pinch hitting for Carson Kelly in that spot in the 8 hole. So that said, I guess there's no sense in crying over spilled milk. It didn't work out for the Tigers, and then we know what happened there in the home half of the seventh inning, 2 runs for the Diamondbacks that ultimately proved to be the difference. 6-4, the final in this one. I thought the Tigers pitching staff, and we'll talk more about this in a moment, did actually a good job of pitching around a lot of action on the bases. The Diamondbacks left 9 men on base, and as a team, the Diamondbacks were just 3 for 12 with runners in scoring position. So for the Tigers to hang tough, and again, I'm sorry, I'm sounding like a broken record. There are no moral victories, but this was a game that I think the Diamondbacks did more things to win. They were better offensively. They had more runners on base. They had more traction. They had a lot of things going for them. And you look up at the scoreboard, and all of a sudden it's a tie game heading to the bottom of the seventh. It's just too bad the Tigers bullpen couldn't hold the Diamondbacks, and they ultimately earned the win. So the Tigers fall back to 500, 23-23. This is the first leg of the road trip. Up next, a trip to Kansas City. They're heading there now for a 3-gamer beginning on Monday. So we will look at Matt Manning's start as well as the bullpen, have some thoughts on where things went wrong. That's coming up next, but don't go anywhere. Locked On Tigers continues in a moment. Hey, I'm fired up to tell you about our proud presenting sponsor today, Policy Genius. That's right. I know life insurance is not the most exciting thing to talk about, but hey, let's be responsible adults for a second and think about the bigger picture, and also think about our loved ones that we care so much about. Life insurance is an important safety net for your family, but trying to find the perfect and exact right policy on your own can be time consuming. It can be overwhelming. It can be complicated. There are so many different components to consider. That's where Policy Genius comes into play. Policy Genius is the country's leading online insurance marketplace, and it saves you time and money so you can provide your family with a financial safety net starting today. Write this down if you want. With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year. Now think about that. That's per year, and you're going to get for $1 million worth of coverage. Some options offer same-day approval and avoid all the unnecessary medical exams. So again, it's something that's very time-consuming, but Policy Genius makes it easier. If you have life insurance, you know how important it is. Take it from me. I've had some things happen in my life where life insurance becomes an important thing to have, and Policy Genius is who you want on your side because they're going to walk you through the process, a totally comprehensive process that is important to have a team on your side, and that's exactly what you get with Policy Genius. And you might say, hey, I've got it through work, but listen up. Your work life insurance policy may not offer enough protection for your family's needs, and even worse, it may not come with you if you leave your current job. Policy Genius gives you unbiased advice from a licensed expert and support team. There's no incentive to be recommended one insurance over another, so you can trust their guidance. Thousands of 5-star reviews on Google. That's what it's all about from customers who have found the best fit for their needs through Policy Genius. So don't take my word for it. Find out for yourself. Check the life insurance off your to-do list in no time with Policy Genius. Head to policygenius.com/LockedOnMLB or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you can save. That's policygenius/LockedOnMLB. Once again, that's policygenius/LockedOnMLB. All right, today's show also made possible by Yahoo Finance. That's right, Yahoo Finance. You know all about Yahoo Finance. Let's get straight to the point. You want to grow your portfolio to deal with the rising cost of inflation, to pay off your debt or your mortgage, pretty much anything standing in the way of you and financial freedom, right? Well, with Yahoo Finance, you can get access to the news, data, and tools that you need in order to help reach that financial freedom. That's what it's all about. For more than 25 years, Yahoo Finance has been the brand behind every great investor. So whether you're a seasoned investor or you're looking for that extra guidance, Yahoo Finance gives you all the tools and data you need in one place. You don't have to have 45 tabs open like I do during every episode of Locked On Tigers POSTCAST. Yahoo Finance is the #1 finance destination, producing a holistic look at the financial news cycle, including breaking news, original editorial perspectives, analysis, ratings, independent research, customizable charts, and oh so much more. Thing I love is you can securely link your brokerage accounts for a unified view of your wealth, including 401k and other investments. A comprehensive perspective is what sets apart great investors, and it's how Yahoo Finance ensures you have the insight to look at your wealth in its entirety. So for a more comprehensive financial news and analysis, visit the brand behind every great investor, yahoofinance.com. The number one financial destination, yahoofinance.com. That's yahoofinance.com. And I'll hit you in the face with it one more time, yahoofinance.com. And here we go. Matt Manning, his start. Let's break it down because hand up, I've been calling for Matt Manning to be in this rotation. And obviously with Kenta Maeda and the illness he's undergoing and whatever that current situation or wherever that current situation is, I should say, Matt Manning had another opportunity to go out and help lead his team to a sweep. And unfortunately, he was unable to do so. We talked about the rough start to this one with the leadoff triple. Anytime you begin the game with the leadoff triple for the opposition, not good. And obviously, Carroll came around to score 2 runs there in the home half of the first inning, 1 more in the second inning, and then he started to settle down. But all told, Matt Manning's final line for the Tigers, 5 innings pitched, allowed 10 hits, 4 earned runs, walked 3, only struck out 1. So he didn't have his best stuff. And that said, when you look at what this rotation has done over the course of the last 9 games leading up to today's game, this rotation has been as good as any in baseball. So I think, me included, and I don't want to speak for anybody else, but we got accustomed to, our starter's just going to go 6 to 7 innings and only allow a run or 2, and we're going to cruise, and it's on the offense. And today's game took a little bit different shape, and Matt Manning, I'm not going to say he, lost this game for the Tigers, because obviously they came back and tied it in the top of the 7th, and then it was the bullpen that let it get away. But he would have liked to put forth a better effort. I still don't think he's done. It wasn't the type of start that you say, we can't send this guy out there ever again. It was just kind of a meh start. 4 runs over the course of the 5 innings pitched, not great, but battled a little bit at times, and ultimately this Tigers offense picked him up enough to have a chance in this game. Now, move ahead to the 7th inning. There was some kind of rumblings on the stream last night. We talked about, we had a lot of people tuning in last night, where we're starting to have a little bit of a concern with the bullpen because, again, this bullpen has been so good, but there's been a little bit of weaknesses leering their ugly heads in recent games. So as we jump to the 7th inning, where it got away from the Tigers bullpen, you gotta, when you are the bullpen, I mean, this is baseball 101, because you got to, when your offense does its job, gets a run, chips away, ties it up there in the top of the 7th, you just got to go out and have a shutdown inning. That's what it has to be. And Tyler Holton, again, this isn't on you per se. Obviously, Tyler Holton's the one that gets hit with the loss with his final line of just 1 inning pitch, 1 hit, and the 1 earned run allowed with the 1 strikeout. But he set the tone with in that 7th inning, allowing the first couple of batters to reach there in the bottom of the 7th. So you get the single to left to start off. Then Faedo comes in, and Faedo, again, it's kind of the tough luck loss for Tyler Holton, because Faedo was the guy who took over in the 7th, and Gibby said it on the broadcast that he just didn't look like he had his best stuff. And unfortunately, after that first runner had reached in the bottom of the 7th, there wasn't enough done to stop the bleeding. In fact, you get another single. Now you got 2 on, nobody out. You get the grounder to third. Urshela only has the 1 play over to first, so it essentially works as a sacrifice bunt. Now you got second and third with only 1 out. And then that play I talked about with Javi Baez, it was a chopper. And again, you're not going to say that's a misplay by Javi Baez or Jake Rogers for that matter, but it's just the frustrating way of a game that ends up that being the game-winning run where Javi makes the play, can't quite get it out of his glove in a smooth exchange, and then because of that has to kind of double clutch the throw, ends up skipping it into Rogers, and Rogers is a great catcher defensively, and I'm sure he would tell you, like, I got to scoop that and apply the tag, and this game remains tied. But in all realistic and in all seriousness, that's just a really, really difficult play that not a lot of catchers are making. And if they do, it's a great play. But the bigger picture is the first two batters of the inning reaching, and then you're in that situation where you got second and third. You got to bring the infield in, and a contact play. Yes, the runner was off on the crack of the bat, and you had a chance to get him if everything goes smoothly. But again, that's a little bit lower percentage of play. And then you had the ground out at first. That's going to score another run to make it 6-4. That was a nice play by Torque, though, to even make that out anyways. So nothing too exciting, I guess, if you're the Diamondbacks, but for them, they tip of the cap. They did enough to manufacture those 2 runs in the bottom of the 7th to ultimately earn the win. And again, it wasn't anything alarming or egregious, and where you slam the hat, you scream into the microphone or anything of that matter. It just, this one didn't go the Tigers' way. So what we're going to do instead of our studs and duds, we're going to wrap it up with a weekend in review, because we saw a lot of good things this weekend and would have loved to see a sweep today, but instead it is the Tigers taking 2 of 3 to really get the road trip off to a good start, and now a chance to go to Kansas City and really make some noise. So we'll look ahead to that series as well as the weekend in review. Don't go anywhere. Locked On Tigers postcast continues in a moment. All right. Today's sponsor, helping make the program possible, is LinkedIn. That's right. You've heard of LinkedIn, but I'm going to tell you a little bit more about just LinkedIn and what it can do for you. Are you struggling to close deals? Maybe B2B selling is tougher than ever. That's why I want to tell you about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a sales intelligence platform that helps professionals effectively prospect and engage high-value customers, drive higher revenue, and increase sales performance. That's the 3-game sweep right there. Tigers couldn't come up with the 3-game sweep, but I'm talking engage high-value customers, drive higher revenue, and increase sales performance. I like the sounds of that. Sales Navigator helps you target the right buyers, surface key signals such as job changes or which accounts you should prioritize, and shows you hidden allies so you can find those buyers that are most likely to convert. That's right. We're working efficiently here. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is fueled by LinkedIn's 1 billion member platform. Sales Navigator gives you the most up-to-date first-party data, enabling you to unlock conversations with the people that matter. Everybody matters on Locked On Tigers postcast, but when you're using LinkedIn Sales Navigator, you want to find those most up-to-date first-party data enabling to help you unlock conversations with the ones that are most likely to convert to buyers. So right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day free trial at linkedin.com/lockedon. So 60 days free trial, no risk. Try it out. If you like it, then you know it's for you. LinkedIn.com/lockedon. That's LinkedIn.com/lockedon for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to LinkedIn.com/lockedon to get started. All right, weekend in review. Tigers take 2 of 3 from the Diamondbacks, but fall today in the finale 6-4. Would have loved to see a sweep, obviously. And despite this one not getting off in the right foot for the Tigers, they fought back, chipped away, a run in the third on the Torque home run, a run in the 5th, 6th, and 7th, but could not break through. And ultimately, the Diamondbacks win this one late with 2 in the bottom of the 7th and earn the 6-4 win. So the Tigers are 23-23, right at 500. I did read yesterday the 23-22 start through 45 games was their best start since 2016, where they narrowly missed the postseason. So I know it's a long season. What do I always say? We've got 162 of these, but that was kind of encouraging to see that even when things haven't gone the way you want them for the Tigers, it's still big picture wise better. We're in a better position than we've been in quite some time. And up next, the Tigers will have a 3-game series on the road to conclude the brief 6-game road trip against the Kansas City Royals. 3 games, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then a 4-game series against the Toronto Blue Jays back at Comerica Park. So that will start on Thursday night, 6:40 first pitch. But why don't I work backwards here? That's on me. Monday is a 7:40, but that's Central Time, obviously. So it'll be 8:40 on the Eastern Time Zone. Same with Tuesday, and then Wednesday, that 2:00 first pitch in the day game, 2:10 technically. But that said, I want to look at this weekend in the rear view mirror real quick because we saw a lot of good things, and I probably got to start with my guy Javi Baez, and then obviously I'm being sarcastic with my guy. Today wasn't his best day, but he did have an RBI. He had that egregious strikeout in the 7th inning, but to be fair to Javi Baez, what a series it was for him. 1 for 4 today with the RBI, but yesterday in the 8-3 win, Javi Baez, there he is, 4 hits, 2 more runs scored, had another RBI, and what a night he had Friday night, looking at the way he got this series started with a 5 RBI game, 3 hits, and also had a run scored. So Javi Baez, really, really good series. Say something nice about Javi, I just did. And you look at the weekend in review, he was a guy that brought his A game, and let's hope it's a sign of more things to come. Other guys, Torque, good to see him get a home run today. He had a pretty good series overall. He had the 1 hit today. It was a home run, obviously. And then yesterday, Torque had 1 more hit, but a bigger night on Friday night in that hit parade where Torque had 2 hits, so 4 hits for the weekend. Colt Keith had a nice little breakout Friday night with the 4 hits and 3 runs scored, 2 RBI as well. And I don't want to just regurgitate stats for this last segment of Weekend in Review, but I just thought this was a weekend in which the Tigers bounced back. It was a weekend where you saw the body language, you saw them playing a more exciting brand of baseball, and I think that rubbed off top to bottom through the lineup, and let's hope that it can help spark this team and get back to the way that they were playing before that rough stretch. And maybe I'm putting too much into that rough homestand. And I know it's not like they lost all 6 games, but they lost 2 or 3 to the Astros, who had been struggling. And then to lose 2 or 3 to the lowly Marlins was just, I was in a low place mentally. So this weekend, I should say, did a lot for me to feel better about this team, the identity of this team, what this team can be, and how this team can move forward. Because I was telling you the season's over after that final game against the Marlins. So don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm talking about. Season's back on, everybody. And again, would have loved to see the sweep, but hey, we'll take 2 or 3 and get back to winning series. I was looking up the Tigers schedule before I hopped on during the game because I was trying to see the last time they had swept a team, and it was that opening series against the White Sox. So, but there was that stretch when you look at winning series, because that's what it's all about, winning series. And the Tigers won that series going back to late April. They won that series in Minnesota and then continued the road trip with 2 or 3 against the Rays. Then when the draft was in Detroit that last weekend in April, Tigers won that series against the Royals and then won the series in the middle of the week against the Cardinals. That was the 4 straight series wins for the Tigers in the month of April. That's the type of baseball you want to see this team get back to playing. We don't have to look at standings. We don't have to worry about where we are in the AL Central, where we are in the American League. It's a marathon, not a sprint, but it's time to continue to win series, and put that best foot forward. So, hey, don't forget about Locked On's 24/7 sports streaming channel on YouTube. It's now also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with local experts of Locked On, plus national shows covering every league. You can find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. Don't forget about Locked On Tigers with Scott Bentley. It'll be interesting to see what he has to say on the weekend series. Make sure you catch that as well. Subscribe to Locked On Sports Detroit. And Jake 245 in the comments here, opinions on Kerry play. Yeah, I touched on that earlier in the stream, if you want to rewind back to it, but I will give you a summary. I like the aggression, especially given the fact that that's the go-ahead run. I don't feel great. It's not like, I mean, you took the bat out of Jake Rogers' hands, which, no disrespect, but that's not a huge deal for me, as far as, or no, my apologies. The next batter up would have been Andy Ibanez. So, so my apologies there, but you take the bat out of Andy Ibanez's hand. I don't know. I like the chances of Kerry Carpenter scoring on the inside the park home run more than and it being as close of a play as it was. Now the Tigers did challenge. You had AJ Hinch challenge there. And I guess there wasn't indisputable video evidence. I also thought Burkhart could have been deemed blocking the plate before receiving the ball, which obviously with the new rules, that would have allowed the run to count. So it was an afternoon in which it wasn't the Tigers' day. And I think that call kind of points to that and really personifies how it wasn't the Tigers' day. So that said, you'll take the series win 2 out of 3. Would have loved to see a sweep, but time to continue the road trip. Good start to this one, 2-1 so far with 3 more to come against the Kansas City Royals before returning home for a 4-game set against the Toronto Blue Jays. So pitching matchup on Monday, and it's an 8:40 first pitch. It'll be Reese Olson versus Michael Wacha. And maybe we can get some runs for Reese Olson. Poor guy, 2.09 ERA and is 0-4. That's just not fair. So let's get some runs for Reese Olson. Thanks so much for tuning in to this edition of Locked On Tigers Postcast. Always a pleasure to be on the air with you. And we'll see you next time on Locked On Tigers Postcast.